So let's get started. People will join as they come in. So welcome to the course, ACADS Python. What we want to do is in 3 sessions or show you a quick introduction to Python and see how far we can get with it. Of course, in 3 sessions, there's only a few things we can do. And I've also tried to make sure that in the Python classes we focus on having a little fun, asking some interesting questions, and learning and exploring the world around us, right, using Python. So there's plenty of interesting things we can do, but we are limited by time. Okay, so let's get started. So mainly, as I said, the goal of this program is for all of us to have a little fun. We will definitely learn to write code in Python, which will be good. Then I have tried to make sure that rather than just writing some standard programs, we can explore some topics like art, mathematics, even some computer games, right? So every time we will try to explore one of these areas. And I will share my email with you. So if you have questions or suggestions, please send me messages. I want this to be interactive and the course to be interesting to you, okay? Okay, some quick questions about logistics or what we have to do. As you are already here, but for the next couple of Sundays, we will have our class at this time, 10:30 a.m. US time and 8 p.m. India time, okay? I shouldn't ask this question because you should all try to attend the 3 sessions. If you need to miss a class, let me know and we can talk about what you can do to not fall behind, okay? Because there are only 3 sessions. Please do try to make sure that you attend all the sessions, right? Because otherwise it'll be hard for you to catch up. Next thing is make a little plan, make a plan for some practice, because the class is only 1 hour and lots of ideas will come by and it takes a little time for you to make it easy for you to write the code. So plan a little time for practice, okay? And a quick note, if your parents or any of your family is around, encourage them to join us, right? Because it's always good. They don't need to be computer programmers. They just need to be interested and they need to be able to ask questions, and a person that we can partner with. They have different experiences. So we can always use experiences of other people to make our learning better and more fun. Okay, so I encourage everybody to join who are with you. Okay, and if you have friends, you can make sure that they join with you, or you can just share your code and discuss it with them. So, okay, just one important thing I want to share. I know it's a little advanced or maybe it's very easy, but it is very important when we think about being successful, that we think that people are born with skills to be successful, or somebody's a born programmer or a born musician. But I belong to the school that is currently being more and more substantiated by research, that it is really what choices we make and how we spend our time that results in success. And so 2 quotes for those who like to read from Harry Potter. There's a quote from Albus Dumbledore. It says, "It's our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities." So I want all of you to think about this, right? It is really how we choose to allocate our time, how we choose to concentrate our energies, how we respond to situations. It's the choices that make all the difference. So it's a simple thing, but it's a very important thing. And then something I wrote down, I want to stress that all of you are born with the potential to learn and be successful. But to do this, you need a few ingredients. So there are 3 ingredients, I think. One is passion, another is focus, not to get distracted, and motivation, right? You have to be strongly motivated. If you try one day and give up the next day, you're not going to be successful. In fact, being motivated and sticking to something is a big difference between those who are successful and those who are not. After you have all this, so these are 3 things I want you to focus on and produce. And then you need a good process. You need a good class, a good session, a good teacher, good problems, good questions. You need all these things that I can definitely help, and I will definitely help you with. So let's work on these things together, and hopefully we will have a lot of success. Okay, so I'm going to just stop my screen share, and I'm going to share. All of you should try to log into the course web page. So I'm going to log into the course web page now and share my screen. Just give me 1 second. So do let me know if you can see the course webpage. Please put on chat anyone who has any trouble seeing my screen share and or accessing the course webpage. I'm watching chat for a minute. Is everybody able to see my screen share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me start by just introducing you to the course webpage. This is where we can do all the work, okay? So let's get started. When you log into the page, first of all, I want to say here on the top, if you go to the section which is called live sessions, you will find a link to this Zoom meeting, okay? And I will also send out reminders by email. So you can click on this link and you can join this meeting, okay? The next thing is for the course itself, you come to the main page here. When you come in, you will have different sections. Some of you have already done this. Please go through. Session 0 was supposed to be done yesterday, but okay, it can be done today or tomorrow even. Please go here and we have these little discussion sections. You can post. Some of you have posted and I've even responded. So please go take a minute. In fact, you can take a minute. I'll give you a minute right now. Take a minute and just introduce yourself quickly. Okay, you can talk about where you live or what you do, some fun fact about yourself. And use these forums. You can also add new posts. You can ask questions here. I will try to respond. I will also share my email. If you have more detailed question, you can ask me. Okay. So I'm looking to get to know some of you a bit more. So few of you have posted. So please take a minute and quickly introduce yourself. Let me see. So I have asked two questions in the discussion. One is, about your goals and interests, about introduce yourself, and about why you want to learn Python. If you look at this thing that says goals and interests, so I'm actually switching now. Hopefully you're all able to quickly type your introductions. But if you're not able to, that's okay. Come back and do it after the session or tomorrow when you have time. Okay. Now, if you click on this link, goals and interests, it will take you to a page where you can actually record in more detail. Okay, so it will open up a survey page here if you click on this link, and you can just take it. Okay, you can this is a little longer, so let's do this after the class because it will take some time for you to 5 minutes, not more. I will use it to understand more about you, and then I can make some adjustments to the course material based on what you say. Okay, I also want to understand your level and so on. Okay, so that's it in terms of background. For those who want to think a little bit about computers, I made a small video here. A little bit of material here. You can just quickly browse. So what is the idea that I have here with this course page is I'm trying to give you all the material here. So you don't have to go to Google. You don't have to install anything. Everything you need should be here. Okay. And I will send an email after this class to remind you about some of these things, and also in the email, I'll tell you what actions you need to take. Some of the things I mentioned right now. Okay. Okay. So let's get started now. So let's see, what are the topics we want to talk about for this session? And some of you even already introduced yourself as being interested in art and so on. So let's see. So first thing is I want to teach you some basic Python quickly. Okay. In fact, enough Python to start writing some code. And then we will spend the rest of the time exploring a little bit of geometry. Does that sound interesting? Anyone on chat, you can tell me. Okay. Now, when I say exploring geometry, I will give you here some examples. These are all images that I created, code that I wrote, right? So you tell the computer to draw these pictures, and the computer goes on and draws these pictures, right? So, okay, quickly tell me, does anyone like these pictures? Any of these pictures catch your fancy? Do they look easy? Do they look easy or do they look hard? Do you think it'll be easy to write a program for this or hard? I'm watching chat, okay? So either you can unmute your microphone or put in chat, okay? I like to keep it interactive. So please keep typing. Even I may not be able to read everything you're saying. Some of them look easier than others. Some are complex. Okay, but I want to make an important point to all of you, right? Those who think, we all think, I've shown this to many students of different ages. Almost all of them say, yes, it looks beautiful, right? It looks nice. And the reason is that as human beings, we are already wired to recognize the beauty in, in nature, in geometry, right? We see these patterns and our brains are wired to recognize these patterns. So as soon as it sees a pattern, we recognize that um, we recognize that it is beautiful. Somebody said in chat, it's not that complex because it's a repeating pattern. So that is also a very important point, right? Because when you see something which looks complex, the logic and the code that makes it happen does not have to be complex, right? So you must think about this a little bit. Complicated things that we see may have simple explanations. And so, for example, if you look at the planets, later we can talk about astronomy and things like this if you're interested. But if you look at the planets actually in the sky and look at their motion, it's extremely complicated. But then eventually we figured out that actually planets just have simple motion. They go in simple loops around the sun and in certain shapes. And then that explains everything. So complex things don't have to be complex. They can have simple explanations. Okay. And in fact, there is a whole study of some of these things, and people have actually tried to analyze which things are complicated and which things are not. But we won't get there today. Okay. So now, now let's go and start. We're almost ready to start writing code. So let's go and do some basic things here. So the first thing is, if you go to section 1.1 and go to the section which is basic commands. Okay. So right here, it's easy for us to start writing code. So no installations, nothing. So in fact, there's some code here, but let me clear it up and let us type it together. So the first thing we want to do is this. Today we will focus mostly on creating some kind of images with Python, right? So, but the idea is that if you make images, you have to figure out the logic behind an image, and that logic will help us, right, to figure out how things are working, right? So to get started with anything in Python or in a programming language, it's useful to use packages or libraries that others have created, which will make our work easy. And so here, first thing we're going to do is we're going to say from turtle import. Oops, it's not showing up. 1 second. Is my font too small? Can somebody let me know in chat? Too small. Okay. Somebody said in chat it's too small. So I'm going to make it a little bigger. Let me find out 1 second. Font size. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so hopefully this is better. Is it better now? Can somebody say? Yeah, okay, good. So yes. This is the one, I'll try to explain everything meaningfully, but this is the one line that you have to kind of learn. Okay, I'll highlight a few lines that you have to actually just do. This first line here, if you understand the meaning behind it, maybe it's easier to remember. But this first line says there is a package or a library or a program that someone has written for us. And this program is called Turtle. And in a moment, I'll explain why it's called a turtle. But for now, you say from whatever the name of the library is, from turtle, bring me everything. That's what import star is saying. Okay, just bring me everything from this turtle package. So that's all we need to bring everything from the turtle package. So now quickly, let me tell you why is this thing called turtle and so on. The idea was created by a guy, a teacher at MIT. And his idea was that if you have children play with an object, so he made a little robot in the shape of a turtle, and then he let the children play with the turtle and make it run around on the floor and draw different shapes and so on, using a computer programming language, right? And then that helped them to learn more about programming. And that was very successful. So we are going to use the same idea, right? We'll just play with turtles. So, okay, so let's get started. So we got the turtle package in. Now what can we do? So the first thing we want to do is make a turtle. So how do we make a turtle? Well, first we decide if I make a turtle, we want to give it some name. So we can actually call it something and we can talk to it. So let us pick any name, okay? So I will pick this name Taco because one of my students was trying to pick a name and pick the name Taco. So you can give it any name, right? You can call it anything you want. Joe, Jim, Ram, Satish, anything you want, okay? Any name, but after that you have to always refer to your turtle with this name. And then you say basically turtle. But notice one small thing here, it has to be capital T, okay? That's all you need. So this will make a turtle, but we can't yet see it because it's going to be hidden. So let us actually give it the shape of a turtle because actually later they figured you can change the shape. So we'll say taco and we'll set its shape, right? So we'll say its shape is the shape of a turtle. So let us do these two things and just now this is a Python program. Okay, so that's cool. Now what you have to do here is you just hit run. Okay, and you see a turtle on my screen on the right hand side. Now somebody asked the question, what does the star mean? Star means that inside the turtle package, there are many functions. For example, this thing that we used here, this thing is actually a turtle factory, right? So this thing actually allows us to create turtles. So this thing lives inside this turtle package. So when I say import star, it brings all of the capabilities that are inside the turtle package. And now we can just access it. We don't have to worry about it. We can start using it. So I will highlight to you when we use things from the turtle package. So here is one of those things. And now once we have created a turtle, you can ask it to do something. For example, I can say, make your shape into that of a turtle. If you don't, let's stay here. Let's use turtles for now. Okay. So now what can we do? Okay, now we have created it. Now we want to maybe, okay, let's do one more property for it. Let us make its color. So pick any color, but we'll say taco dot. Okay, what do you think we have to say? What are the brackets? In these lines here, whenever we run what we call a function, or we ask Python to do anything, we have to put bracket. Okay. So in fact, in all of these examples now, you're going to, whenever you ask it to do anything, for example, here we're saying, Taco, can you please make your shape into that of a turtle? So now you have to put brackets. By the way, these are all great questions. Okay. Because this is where initially you will have a little bit of problem. And then afterwards, it will all become natural, right? It'll become easy. I don't even think about brackets anymore. But in the beginning, it's very important. So this is a function. What is a function? A function is something that takes information and does something, right? Now, here, this function doesn't need any information because in order to make a turtle, it doesn't need any information. So you just say turtle and it gives you turtle, right? So in fact, if you want to make two turtles, later we can make, you can just say turtle one more time and create a second turtle. But if you create a second turtle, it will sit on top of the first one and you cannot see it. So we can play with this a little bit, okay? By the way, don't be afraid to play an experiment. You cannot break anything. Maybe worst case, your browser will hang and you have to restart it, okay? If we'll see if we can break it or not, okay? So, okay, so we set the shape. The next thing is we can set its color. So actually, let's ask a question and see if anyone wants to tell in chat. What would be the command to set its color? So this is what I like to call programming by instinct or least surprise, right? What should be the natural thing? If I want to set its color, what should I say? Somebody want to guess? It's not a question of knowledge. It's what feels natural to you. I have to say something here. Last time to set its shape, I said dot shape. Sorry? Can you speak up? I almost heard something.
Open bracket.
Someone is speaking, but it's very soft. I don't know why. Try again.
Taco dot color bracket open. Then
Yeah, that's
then the
excellent.
inverted commas. Then
Excellent, wonderful. That is perfect. That's exactly what we need. So I think this is what I heard, and I'm going to try to do that. So taco.color. So because you want to set its color, you have to say dot color, and then here you have to type a color. But the important thing here, which we're going to see is, for example, I want to make it blue. I need to have quotes around. This quote is very important. This quote tells Python, I'm making a string. So for now, let us learn this idea. Whenever we want to make a string, we'll talk about the difference between strings and other things later. But for now, let's just go ahead, and then we will see what happens. Okay. So now let's just go here and let's hit run and see what happens. And sure, my turtle became blue. So I can go little slowly here. If all of you can get this far, can you do this and let me know if you were able to make a turtle and give its color?
Okay, one quick comment. Some
Yes.
of the students are having problem logging to the website. It's better to just focus. If you're having problem, let's sort it out after the class. And right
Yes.
now, focus on what is being taught. And this recording will also be uploaded, so don't worry about it.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you, Manish. Yes, yes. So for all of you, anyone who's having any problem with logins, don't worry. Send us an email after the class, or towards the end of after the class is over, we can sort it out. As Manish said, just follow along on the screen right now, and then we can also record this whole session for you, so you can just watch the video later and repeat things if you need to. Okay, so don't worry, just follow along, because I will give you some important ideas now. If you can catch on to those ideas, don't be distracted by the login problems. Okay, we'll sort it out. Okay, so what happens now? So we are able to create. So anyone was able to create? Okay, some at least. Hi, Ketan. Yes, I see you were able to do it. So I'm assuming all of you are able to do it. So now we have to ask a question. Suppose I want to make this turtle move. What is the next? What would I say to make it move? This one is a little tricky. Okay, you would have to say move, but actually here it's forward, because I want to make it move forward. Okay, so I'll say taco.forward, and here, if you want to make it move, what should I have to say? What do I have to say when I want to make it move forward? What number, what do I have to give it? What information do you think it needs? Can anybody tell me in chat, what information would it need? Anyone? Come on, I'm waiting. Okay. Some number, right? Yes, some of you are guessing. Yes, it needs a number. It needs to know how much distance, right? So you can say forward or backward, and you give a number. So here, let me say forward 100. Okay, so then that will make it move forward, easy, right? So he's able to move. Okay, there's also a backward, but now I'm going to tell you some ideas. Okay, the idea is use less commands if possible in the beginning. We don't want to use forward and backward, so just use forward. Now, important thing, somebody said here, in order to move, you need a direction and a distance. This is very important. Later you will learn this idea, right? That in order to move, you need a direction and a distance. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So you need to give a direction and a distance. So in this command, are we giving a direction and a distance? And the answer is yes, because we are saying go forward. So whatever direction you're pointing, later we'll come about with this idea of making the Python go in a different direction. But right now we make our life simple. We say that whatever direction the turtle is pointing in, we can go forward or backwards in that direction. So how will I go in a different direction? I will show you in a minute. And the answer is very simple. So, okay, then the next thing is very important. You have to give a direction and an amount, right? So the amount needs to have a unit. The amount needs to have a unit. So in the unit, what you have to do, you have to, basically here, you don't have to tell Python whether it's feet or meters. Python actually uses its own internal units. Later, we're going to figure out what that internal unit is. But for those who understand computers and so on, it's kind of based on pixels, okay? But don't worry about it right now. So you just say, you can say, for example, if I say 10, it's going to be smaller than 100. It's going to be a very small line. So you can see 10 is very small. You get used to the units here. Okay, but again, we are learning some physics right now. We are learning that whenever you want to move, you need to have a direction and an amount. So actually movement is a vector. When you come to more advanced math and physics, you learn this. but also we are learning that in order to move and measure movements, we need units. And here the units are always present. Here the units are pixels. Okay, so we got a lot of cool things here. Now, next thing I want to do is, okay, since I can only move forward, what if I want to go in some other direction? Well, what you do here is you need to turn. So how can we tell the turtle to turn? So the next command is turn. And in order to turn, again, you need a direction and an amount. Interesting. So how do we specify the direction? We specify the direction by saying left or right. Okay, so let me say left. I always turn left. Okay. So how do we specify how much to turn? What is that thing we have to use? Is it a distance? What is it? What is the process we have to use? Somebody said taco dot right angle. Yeah. So the quantity we have to use here is an angle. Okay, we'll come. Somebody asked about input. Can you remember to ask me this question later towards the end of the class, and we'll talk about input. Okay, so taco dot left. So here you say 90. Okay, for example. So then it will of course go and it will turn. Now that it turns, if I say forward, it will go in this new direction. Okay, so immediately we can do something fun. So let me ask all of you. So quick 5-minute thing. Can you now figure out how to make a shape, square, for example? Can we make a square?
We can just write left 90 and
Sorry,
then
somebody,
forward 100.
Say that again loudly.
We can write taco dot left 90 and then we can write taco dot forward 100 and then again repeat those two commands and then we'll form a square.
Yeah, you keep on repeating it, right? If you keep repeating these commands, you can draw a square. So can all of you try quickly and let me know in chat how many of you have made a square already? I will also do it on the screen for now. So I just have to repeat stuff, right? So we can repeat this 1, 2, and 3. And I should have a square on the screen. Okay, so that was very easy. So quickly tell me on chat, is Python looking easy now? Okay, we have only 3 commands so far, right? So yes, it's looking easy. But yes, is anyone having trouble here at this moment? No, right? Okay, this is what I want to show you. We can do a lot of cool things with a couple of small, simple commands. Yes, lovely to hear that all of you find it easy. Okay, and if you have any difficulties, do ask me questions, okay? I can't fully read in chat, but I'll try my best to read as much as I can. Okay, so we got this now. So we can now, basically, I'll show you later how to save this. Please remind me, okay, how to save your work and how to submit some of your code for me to review, okay? So I will show you in a minute. Okay, so this is done. So now look at our course page. There are lots of tabs here. You can just right now go to the next tab. So here I've created this. We've already done it. So there's no need to do it again. But for practice, so that is a nice thing to do when the course is, when we're done with the class, go to this page, it's blank. See if you can remember all the commands and make a square. I have given some suggestion here. You can ignore it and you can start writing, right? So you should practice like this. With a blank screen, you should be able to start creating the whole program. Okay. Somebody is saying in chat, I have the same doubt. What is the doubt again? Can you type the question? Type the question, Rohit. I am looking at the chat. Why do you always add a dot? Okay. I see that question. Okay. So why do I add a dot? Because this is actually a name. And in order to, or an object or a thing, it's a turtle. Whenever I want to tell the turtle, hey, you have to do something for me, I use the dot. Okay. So does that, that's how I would like you to think about it right now. But later we'll have more understanding of exactly why the dot is there. Okay. For now, let's just think about it like this. Whenever we want to tell an object or a turtle or a car or anything, we want to give it an instruction, we always put a dot and give it an instruction.
Sorry, John.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just give me 1 second?
Sure.
I have it blocked in front. Yeah, I have to say, like, can you review this once again because some of the kids joined late, so they are
Oh,
not
no
sure
problem. No
what's happening.
problem at all. Thank you for letting me know.
So
Okay, so let us.
that is one, and some of the kids are not able to program concurrently along with following the class. So that is also okay. Don't get frustrated. Just follow what is being done and do this programming if you can't do it concurrently after the class.
Yes, yes, good point. So, okay, so let's do two things here, right? I will repeat this one more time. I will do it on that blank page since it's there. And also, so those who have able to program, try to program along with me. Those who are having trouble, don't worry, right? Just follow along, get the ideas, and then after the class, you can just try to do it. And as Manish said, we'll also upload the video of the class so you can watch it leisurely, solve all the problems with logins or other things, and then you can do it. So don't worry at all, okay? Just calmly. One of the things we are learning here, maybe I'll take this as an opportunity to talk about this. For all of us as people and as learners, one of the things is things will go wrong. Things do go wrong. Something doesn't work, login doesn't work, something happens. Especially when you work with technology, things will break. But what we have to develop is the mindset that says, it's okay if it breaks, let's figure a way to move forward. If I cannot write the code, let me watch. If I cannot write the code, let me take a paper and make some notes, right? Try to solve the problems and move forward. And you're going to see that programming is going to challenge you again and again and again. Things are going to break and not work. And all of us will get frustrated, right? When things don't work the way we want. But we have to develop this strong skill of saying, how can I move forward? Okay, so let's keep trying. So for those who cannot log in, I'm sorry, we'll solve it later. But just follow. If you can watch the video and you can see me talking and see my screen, then you can follow with that. Okay. And even if you still have problem, then we'll figure out more. Send me email and we'll try to figure out how we can get you more information. Okay. So quick, it's like a recap. So I will do the recap for those who cannot type, and for those who can type and do this, just you do this. If you're even more advanced, go ahead and make another shape. Start thinking about how to make a triangle, for example. Okay, so what is the recap? In order to do this code, you first think about the turtle library, and you have to bring everything from the turtle library. So we say from turtle, you can say bring star, but actually we'll say import star. Okay, from turtle import star will bring everything. Then I create a new turtle. So I say taco equals turtle. Notice this has to be capital because it's like a turtle factory, and it is capital. Also it's capital because Python is case sensitive. So uppercase and lowercase have different meanings for it. So lowercase t is used for the package. So uppercase t is used for the turtle factory. Think of it as a turtle factory or a turtle shop. So you can give it any name, right? I call it taco. So here I can call the next one, I don't know, dosa. I don't know, because they're all food items, right? Or pizza, why not, right? So let's say pizza. So pizza equals turtle. So this will make a turtle. It has a strange name. So will come to this in a moment. How do we choose good names, right? If you call a turtle pizza, then you can get confused. Why would a pizza move, right? So we have to, maybe you'll call it pizza turtle or something. But you have to think about names more and more as we go along, okay? But once we have created pizza, we can give it a shape. So pizza dot shape. And here we talked about this. We have to put a dot here because we're asking pizza to do something. So we have to put a dot and say, pizza, can you set your shape? And then we have to tell the shape. So for now, we'll say, make your shape into a turtle. The next thing we do is we give it a color, pizza dot color. And then we give it a color. My color is always blue for now. But when we make all those colored images I showed you before, when we make multiple colored images, you have to basically set the color of the turtle every time to make all the colors in your painting, right? Can't you just use turtle itself rather than equaling? Equal where? Here? Yeah, there are some things you can do without using this, but I always recommend right now that we actually give a name for our turtles, okay? So this actually, it's nice, right? If you have a pet, you want to give it a name. And then afterwards, you always want to talk to the pet by using its name, right? It's very rare that we have a pet which is called dog, right? Or cat. We usually call it some name, right? So it's probably better to give it a name, okay? So just try it like this and it'll all make sense. Yeah. Do keep asking questions. Whatever I can read and answer, I can answer, okay? Okay, so we got this far. So we got our turtle. It's called pizza, strangely. But now we will learn two commands. Only two commands we need. One is to make it move. So we can say pizza dot forward, which is natural. We're asking to move. And we talked about how you have to have a direction and a distance to make movement. And so the direction here is whichever direction the turtle is pointing. So we got the direction, and the movement has to be a number with some units. It's not feet or meters here. The unit is kind of screen units, pixels. Okay. So pizza dot forward, and then we have to make it turn. So we can say pizza dot left, again a direction. Notice not only forward motion, but also turning needs a direction. So if I want someone to turn, I have to tell left or right. So I chose left, and then you have to specify an angle. Okay, and we'll talk about angles more. I don't know, left 90, let's say. So for those who are advanced, you can start thinking, what is the angle needed for other shapes? Okay, pizza dot left, and that's it. So let's just run this code. If you hit the arrow here, it will run, and you get this. And now the next exercise we did was how to make a square. Somebody already said in chat, and all of you have figured it out by now. You have to basically do this 4 times, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you do this 4 times, you got a square. So that's beautiful. So now we start connecting up to making more and more complicated shapes, and we're going to learn a little bit. So somebody was saying for a triangle 45. Okay, so we're going to okay, so those who have a few minutes and can think about it, try anything. If anyone makes a triangle, let me know on chat. Okay, don't be too distracted. Somebody says 120, somebody says 45. Okay, we're going to figure out which is it. Okay, but let's do it later. But now I want to tell you something. So let us do an important thing. Suppose so all of us made the square, or you saw me make the square program here. Okay, it becomes small every time I go back and forth. But you saw this here. So suppose I ask you now, can you please make the square was made with a size 100. So now I want to make it 200. So can we quickly, okay, let's do it together. Can we quickly go back to this code and ask the question, how many places do I have to change my program to change the size of the square? Can anybody tell quickly? Suppose instead of 100, I have to make it 200. How many times do I have to? 4 places, right? 4 places I have to make the change. That's not good, right? Especially if you have a big program, let's say you have a decagon, which has 10 sides. You have to change it in 10 places, right? So that makes it harder for us to change our program when we have all these numbers scattered all over the place, right? So we are going to have this idea in Python, which says, okay, so can we do this poll? Let's see how many got the answer. Trick question. Okay. Okay, almost all of you got it. Okay. So yes. So now the solution to this problem is you just create a name for this. Okay, and the trick here is, can I do Control F to select the ones that no, yeah, you can, but it's going to be a little messy. So the trick here is, so instead of searching and replacing, which you can do with a good editor, we are coming up with an idea here, which is very important idea. The idea is when we have things which have meaning, why don't we give it a name? So this number 100 is not some strange number. In fact, it'll be easier for me to understand the program if I just give it a name. So this is called, and I'm going to use these names for it. I'm going to call it a name, or I'm going to call it a label, or I'm going to call it an identifier. Identifier is a little long, so maybe name or label is good. Sometimes people want to call this variable, but I don't want to call it variable because really it's not varying, it's not changing. So we'll call it a name. So you say side, what is, so now it's very important. What should I call this thing? Because I'm going to put 100 and give it a name. If you call this Bob, it's not good, right? Because then we don't know what it means.
Hello, sir.
So I call, yeah, somebody has a question. Can you say?
Rather than writing these names, can we use letters or alphabets like A is equal to 10 or B is equal to 90?
Yeah, so that's a good, excellent question. So you can actually use anything. Okay, so you can use say A equals 10 or B equals 90. You can do anything like this, or you can say S equals 100. The problem for us is when our program becomes bigger and bigger, we will not know what is that thing supposed to really mean, right? So right now we are writing a first program and it's small. In fact, I've asked this thing. So here are some suggestions for names. Okay, so let's go through these suggestions quickly. The suggestion is that, okay, let's just read through all these. Names are known as identifiers. So we'll call them identifiers or names. They help us identify things. We know what they are, and they give values to things. When Python sees a name, it looks to see what value you're given. Anywhere in your program, if I said side is 100, whenever you use side, it replaces it with 100 for you. Right? So it's very clever in that way, and we should use that idea. But there are a couple of rules we should learn. Please come back and review this. I've asked this in a quiz as well later. So what are the rules for the names? Names must start with a letter. Okay, let's learn it like this. Actually, you can use underscore, but let's not worry about it. Let's always start with letters. Underscore has a special meaning, so let us not use it now. Always names should start with a letter. Names can contain letters and numbers, and also underscores. Now we have to talk about underscores. Why do we need underscores? And I will give you some examples below. For example, you see I have two words, first name. Now there's a rule, names cannot have spaces. So I cannot put first blank name like English. This is the difference between English and programming here, right? When you make a name, you have to be all connected. So you have to either remove the space, but then when you have a longer name, it becomes hard for us to read it. So we like the space between words. So if you're going to use multiple words in a name, we have to choose how to connect it. I'll tell you a story next time if you ask me a question. In Python, people like to connect it with using an underscore. Okay, so whenever you have to use multiple words in coming up with a name, use lowercase for the whole words and then connect them with underscore in between. So because of this reason, underscore is permitted as a special character inside names because we want to use it to join things together. Okay, so other than underscore, you can use uppercase or lowercase letters and numbers, right? So if you have 4 sides or something, you can call side 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put number inside the name too. Okay, a lot of rules here. Just come back after some time, read this one more time. It's a little annoying. I don't like to remember it, but if you learn it now, it'll be easy for you. Otherwise, when you somebody made a triangle. So we're going to get there in a second. Otherwise, later, when you have mistakes, you have to just remember this. That's all. Okay. So don't worry if you spend a few minutes, just learn it. Okay. Now, before we go to triangle, I'm going to teach you one more thing. For a square, we repeated something 4 times, right? So instead of copy pasting my code and repeating things, why don't we make things, why don't we make Python, tell Python, can you please do something 4 times only? Okay. So I'm going to show you how does that work. So let us start, just follow along. I'm going to read what I have on the web page. So the first question is, when you want to repeat something, you have to answer a few questions in your mind. You have to ask this question, how many times should I repeat the action? Then we have to ask the question, what is the action we want to repeat? Okay, keep this a little bit as a process in your mind. Whenever you have to do repeated actions in programming, it's always important to ask the question, how many times should we repeat and what should we repeat? Okay, now just to make this program easy for us to understand, I want to print out some numbers. This is the only action, the only program we're going to write today with printing numbers and so on. Next time we will do some mathematics and some puzzle solving. Then we will spend more time with numbers. Okay, but to print something, so let's start here. Let's not do this for loop right now. Let's just print something. So to print something, you just say print, which is kind of easy. And here you say hello. In fact, the first program you're supposed to learn is called hello world, right? You say hello from your computer program. So you say hello world and there you go. Now for those who know Java and other languages, I am sure you will realize that this is probably the simplest hello world program in any programming language you know, right? And most other things will require much more than this. Can somebody tell me in chat, is this simpler than Java if you have to print hello world? Let me know, I'm watching chat. Okay, so probably it doesn't matter. For those who don't know other languages, it doesn't matter. In Python, it's very simple, right? Just say print and then pass the message. Notice that I want to print a string here. So this is something we're getting in the beginning. I will come back to this next time, okay? But if I want to print a number, then that's also easy. I just make a number. So for example, if I want to print the number 2, I just say print 2 and it prints the number, okay? I'll show you a lot of, Python is extremely good at manipulating numbers and strings. So we can do all kinds of cool things with it, okay? But for today, we'll just use this to understand how can I make Python print 10 numbers, right? So of course, the simple way to do it is you can do print 1, then you can say print 2. This we don't want to do, right? because it's tedious. And what if I say print 100 numbers? We're going to get, yeah, some of you have said it takes few steps to print in Java, correct? So you want to print multiple numbers, you can keep doing this. So let me do one more, print 3. Or let's do 4 because we're going to go to the square at any point. So let's do 4. So this is something, right? So now let's say, okay, we want to use Python to do print 4 numbers for us. Okay. So there is a construction in Python. It is called the for loop. So first of all, you have to create in the for loop. Okay, so let me show you this in a simple way. I've done it here. So let's look at this code because it's, oh no, maybe let's write it here. Okay, sorry. So first thing I do is actually a trick here. Let's just learn this trick and then I'll show you a better way. So you basically make the 4 numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and actually the trick I did here is I put a square bracket around it. And actually what the square bracket is doing is, somebody asked, are we going to make a game? Yes, I'm planning to make a game. If you can think of some games, send me an email and we will talk about it. Okay. Okay. So you can make 4 numbers here, right? And I made actually a list, and we'll come back to lists later. But I'm using lists right now to show you something. We will erase this list and we won't go back to it. I'll show you a better thing later. Okay. Now there is this construction called the for. It's like a little robot. Think of for like a little robot. Each time, so we can say the for will go to the list and it will pull out something from the list. So it will say for, and whatever the list gives it. So for I in the list, for, so it goes to the, so we'll write this program, and then we have to ask what is the repeated action, print I. So let us think about this. How many times will I repeat? So the idea is I have a list here. It has 4 things in it. Each time the for goes to the list and says, can you give me the next thing you got? And it stores it inside this I. And now we can do repeated actions. For example, we can print I, right? So let's run this little program, and it's the germ of something very cool. Actually, let's take out the first 4 prints. By the way, now let me teach you this. If you want to take out something which is typed, but you don't want to delete it, if you hit Control/, it puts a hash mark in front of the lines. That's called a comment. And comment means to Python, I have put something here, please ignore it. So now if I run this program again, Python will just ignore it. And you see, I was actually able to print all the numbers from 1 to 4. Okay, so I want you to just visualize this. Okay, so let us look at this one more time. Here, this thing here allows us to see what's happening. So let's go and see. So first of all, you can see when I hit the next button here, it has created actually a thing called number of steps, because I'm going to use it later. It's created a label for us. Okay. And you can see this is inside the mind of Python. We go inside Python's mind and say, what do you have, Python? What do you know at this moment? And because the program has just started, it has got the number 5. Then the for loop has gone to this list and said, can you give me a value? And the first value it got was 0. So it has made this value I to be 0. And it's waiting here to make the next step. So when I say next, it makes the next step. And you see it printed I, which is 0. Now again, the for goes and says, what is the next number? You see, I changed to 1 here. Right? So play with this later when the class is over. And this picture you must have in your mind all the time when you're using for loops. How is it working, right? Each time it goes to the thing on the right and says, can you give me the next value? And so this keeps on happening. Each time it prints out and so on and so forth. Okay. Okay. So having said this, now one more thing I want you to learn, and then we're done with all new ideas, almost all new ideas. The thing is, what if I, instead of 4, if I say 100, how will you do this? That's painful because now you have to write 4, 5, blah, 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 right? You have to write a long list. This is too much work. Oh, okay. So the colon is, somebody asked a very good question. What is the colon? So the idea is that here I can have, in the for loop, I can have multiple actions. So for example, I can say print I, and then I can say, okay, how about we do like print 2 times I, right? I'm doing like the multiplication table. 2 times I want to see 2 times I, and I want to see 3 times I. Suppose these are all the actions I want to do, right? If I have multiple actions, all of these will get repeated, okay? And actually here we can say print, and here we can put a spacer. Let's try this and see what happens. Okay, so I do this. Let's see what happens if I run this program. You see how it did it? First it did the I is equal to 1. It's multiplied by 1, 2, and 3. then I is equal to 2, it's multiplied by 2, 4, and 6, and so on and so forth. But all these actions get repeated for each value of I. So we put the colon here because it's telling Python, these are all the repeated actions, not one line, multiple lines. But in other languages, what they used to do is they put a bracket like this, right? You have to put a bracket to tell Python what are the repeated actions. But in Python, to make it easy for us, and it will take a little moment for those who learn other languages, we don't use brackets because it causes some, yeah, somebody has asked why has it not printed 0. Uh, we will look at it soon. Okay, just one second. Okay, so what is going on here? You put a colon. Okay, why is it not printed 0? Because I don't have 0 on my list. Okay, I can just answer it like this. If I have 0 on my list and take off all these things, then it will print 0. Okay, you can try it on your own. But now the important thing is the colon tells Python, hey, there's a bunch of repeated actions coming after the colon. So that is the meaning of the colon, right? There's a bunch of repeated actions, not one. And how does it know when the repeated actions are stopped? See, notice how I did this naturally. Use a tab key to indent all of them, and they have to all line up perfectly. Okay, if I don't line them up correctly, if I put like this, or if, let's see what happens. It should complain. Yeah, see, it says there's a problem. So Python, the people who made Python said, human beings are very good at reading texts. We understand paragraphs and we understand indents and everything. So we don't need to use too many mathematical symbols. No need to use brackets. No need to use semicolons. You can just keep it simple. It looks more and more like English or mathematics. So let us recap the for loop quickly. So you say for I in something, and then all the repeated actions. Okay, so now the last thing we want to learn is, suppose I say print all the numbers from 0 to 10. Okay, we'll talk about 0 and 1 in a second. There is a nice thing Python has created. It's called range. You say range 10. And range actually makes that same thing like the list for us, but keeps it hidden from us. So this is very useful. So today our goal is to learn how to use range. Use range to create a bunch of numbers just like that list, but inside Python's memory. So now let me take off these extra printings. Let's just print I. So there's only one print for each time, only one repeated step, and it prints numbers. But the most important thing I want you to notice is range starts from 0 by default. Okay, so let us just remember this. Next class I'll tell you. Actually, now I can tell you. If you don't want to start from 0, you can say 1, 10. And it will go from 1. But now notice it goes 1 less than the last number. So two important tricks. By default, it starts from 0. So let's just do it like this. It starts from 0 and then it gives you 10 numbers. But if you take 10 numbers starting from 0, you end up with 9. So this is something I need you to think calmly. It shows many bugs, little frustration. Yeah, because it does not print 10 because already it has printed 10 numbers. If you start from 0 and get 10 numbers, you will end up with 9. You cannot get to 10. So if you want the number 10 to be printed, you have to say 11 here. Does that make sense? You have to go one more. Why is that? Because Python starts counting from 0. Human beings want to count from 1, Python counts from 0. Long discussion for us to have next time. Just learn it as a thing for now, okay? And we'll come back to it. So now I think that is all I wanted to show you here. Play. Is there a way to print the numbers in the range 0 to 10 but exclude the number? Yes, there is a way to exclude things and include things based on something, but that will be next time. Okay, next class I'll show you how to use logical ideas, right? To decide what gets in and what gets out. For example, if I want to print only even numbers and so on. Okay, so we will do that logic. I want all of you to play with this and just get this picture in your mind too. Okay, use this and then read some of my notes here. Okay, good. So once this is done, let's just I'm getting slowly ready to finish up. So let's just do this actually. So what will we do to make the okay, let me change the font, and I seem to have some code here already, so we can just look at it. So to do our square, this is a nice program. This is our square now, but this is the part I have to importantly stress for you. For the square, we need 4 steps to be done, 4 repeated steps. Move forward and turn is repeated each time. You see, I figured out what has to be repeated 4 times. And now if I do this code, it will actually make a square. Okay, I rushed for loops very fast by you. It's a very powerful tool. It takes a little time to get used to it. Don't worry if you don't understand it first time. Okay, just spend some time practicing and trying stuff, and you will become an expert at this. Okay. Uh, I don't want to spend too many words. Just read the course again, allocate some time for practice, and you will be good. Okay, I have given some more commands for drawing here. Skip it for now. Okay, just focus on this part which I showed you, which is the for loop and the labels. And I have left this as a problem for you to solve. Okay, so today we didn't cover the triangle, but it is a trick question. And maybe next time we will review this. It's a trick question. What is the turning angle to use for triangles? So let's take this poll. Maybe all of you have figured it out, some of you figured it out. Can anybody tell me what's the turning angle? When I say, when I'm trying to draw, instead of a square, if I try to draw a triangle, what's the answer? Well, how many people have answered? Can you all try? What's the angle?
It can be different for different kinds of triangles, like a right
Good
angle.
point. Good point. Yes, it can be different for different kinds of triangles, but the triangles and the shapes we are going to do here are equilateral triangles. Why did I pick equilateral triangle? For two reasons. One is that equilateral triangle, all angles are the same. And for the first class, we're going to consider all those shapes where all the angles are same, because it's less things for us to worry about. If all three angles are different, it's going to be difficult, right? So yes, good point. For any for a general triangle, all three angles are different, and then all three turning angles are different. Okay, so why is it some of us guessed 60 and some of us guessed 120, and the correct answer is 120. So you should try it out and make a triangle, use 120. But now for the next class, or you can put it on the discussion board, give a good explanation. Why is it 120 and not 60? We all learned that 60 degrees is the angle for a equilateral triangle. Why are we using 120 here? Okay, come up with a nice little explanation. And this is the excitement for us, right? When we write. Yes, somebody has an answer? Did somebody say something? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, because if we do in the six, it will make in the different direction. Like we have acute and obtuse angles, and so if you have to make a triangle, you have to make an acute triangle.
So this is correct. This is all correct, but still I'm not sure, and I'm not sure those who have the question, why 60 or why 120? Exactly why this number? Okay, so we'll spend a little time. It is correct. There are acute angles and obtuse angles, and so on, right? But when you go to classroom and you look at the triangle, you see an angle there. They show always equilateral triangle. The angle is 60, right? So why are we using 120? That is confusing, right? So we will discuss this next time. But I want to leave it to you to puzzle, because this is how we find new and interesting things, right? We can explore, we can ask questions, and along the way we learn some cool geometry and so on. Okay, so I think that's mostly it. So now let me just quickly wind up by telling you some things. First is there are some activities and quizzes I'm going to show you in a second. Then spend some time writing some programs. Yeah, make some shape, triangle, hexagon, something, okay? For first class, let us focus on shapes where all angles are same and all sides are same. Once you figure out how to do that, then we can look at other types of shapes, okay? And then the most important thing is when you want to write some code, you have to break things down into small, simple steps. So that is a very important skill that we're developing here, right? How to organize our thinking. So it's very simple. Then I can tell the computer, please, can you do it? Okay. And don't worry if you get stuck or things break. It's definitely part of learning. And don't feel that I'm not very clever or I'm not good. Don't have those kind of thoughts. With a little effort, everything will become easy. And being stuck and finding things difficult is part of learning. Somebody asked, why are numbers not quoted? Because they are numbers and they are not strings. There's a difference between a number and a string. We'll come to that. Yeah? Sorry?
Can I answer it?
Yes, please.
So this is because I have learned this in Java also, that
Yes.
we use quotes for strings, that is a set of alphabets or any kind of information that we have.
Correct. That's correct answer, but we will discuss. Please remind me next time. We're going to discuss a little bit about strings next time. We're going to use strings a lot. Today, I'm not discussing strings much because we want to make geometry. And to make shapes and so on, we don't have to use strings much. We need numbers and angles and so on, okay? Next class, when we do a little bit of math and programs and puzzles, I will introduce you to the idea of what are strings and what are numbers. Okay, important, very important idea, but we will postpone for a little while. Okay, now I want one last thing to say. Everything we wrote, all the code we wrote, is in a website called Trinket, and here I've created for you a way for you to um, submit your code, and also on all of the pages, when you write code, you will have an option to save your code. In order to do that, you need to sign into Trinket. Okay, so to sign into Trinket, I would suggest if you can all go to the submitting your projects link. If you click on it, I will click on it. I'm already a Trinket signed on. Okay, actually maybe if I sign out here, it will work. Okay, let's try. So if you click on this link here, it will take you to this page, and then you can sign up. See, it'll give you something like this. And here I have posted all the assignments, some projects for you to work on. So if you can go here and notice here, there's a sign up link here. Just give any email and you get it's a free sign up. I have paid for everyone, so don't have to worry. Just click here and you'll be signed up. So please do that. And after you have done this sign up, you can use any email, any ID. Okay. After you've done this sign up, when you come back to our course page, anywhere you have a Trinket, let me just pick an example. Let's do basic commands or something. Okay. Anywhere you have a Trinket, you can basically save your own copy, right? So for example, here, once you signed it, you'll have this button to save. It's called remix because it makes a copy and saves it for you. So you can just click on it and it'll save. Next time you come, all your work will be saved. But in order to save it, you need to create a Trinket login. Okay, so to submit your code, for me to review when you do assignments, and to save your code which you're working on the screen in our course, you need to create that login. So just do that quickly and then you're all set. But now I'm basically done. I covered everything we have to discuss. How are we doing? Give me some comments. Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it too fast? Someone let me know. Yes?
It felt a bit tricky at first, but now I'm getting hold of it.
Ah, that's good. That's good. That's the way it is. Okay, some people say it's easy. Yes, and the cool thing is, you'll oscillate between easy and hard. When you try to do more complicated things, you will get challenged. Okay, but what I tried to show you today is it's very easy to get started. It's fun to explore, and we can do really cool things. So now let me show you this thing here. Here you can go and you see here I have given you a simple quiz to take. The goal of the quiz, have fun and complicated. That's excellent. I'm glad you guys are having fun with it. Okay. So there's a little quiz for you to take. Don't get frustrated. Okay. I give quizzes only to make, not for points and marks, but for you to practice and remember some things. So take the quiz. I've given hints. You can click on the quiz. So let me just give an example. If you click on the quiz, you'll get some hints. For example, if you don't know something, you can say show answer, or you can say show hint. You can get some hints. So try to get through this. This thing is just asking you to remember some things. Okay. Then the more interesting thing I think is that there's a chance for you to write some code. I've given you lots of different things you can try to make already. Some of them are very easy. Some of them can be hard. So please try all of them. And as I told you, I'll show you that in a second. And then the last one, for those who like more things, can you try? Okay, so let me ask this question. How many of you can make this image? How many of you can make this image? Anyone? Say on chat, all of you can do it? I'm watching chat. Anyone tell me how many can you see you can see my screen, right? I put an image on the screen. Okay, so somebody says, okay, try. So the point here, when you see an image like this, is don't get scared. Okay, they're all simple shapes in this image. And if, for example, you don't know how to draw a circle, don't worry. Do the part that you can. You can make the house. Okay, so somebody asked about how to color the background. So I will give a clue here, okay? Don't think that there is some hidden information that you need and go search on Google and get lost, okay? What I want you to do is think, how can I create the background? So what is the shape of the background here? What is the shape of the background? It's a rectangle. So if you know how to draw a rectangle, you got the background already, okay? And there is a command for filling up shapes with color. I have put it in the extra commands section of our web page. So the puzzle for you is whenever you get a question, make sure that you've checked on the web page. Make sure you think what I really needs. Okay, there are many ways to solve a problem, but I've given you all the tools you need. So try, and then if not, post on the discussion group, right? And ask questions. If you need help, I can try to give you help. Okay. And I think that's mostly it. And okay, yes, like I said, when I showed you this, so let me go there and do that one more time. Once you sign up here in this activities thing, once you go through this and it says submitting your projects, when you click on this link and make your Trinket login, there also you will have exactly the same Trinket like that is in the assignment here. You can just put your code there. I will show you a demo of that next time because we are almost used up all the time. Don't worry if you don't get that far. You just get as far as you get. When you actually log in here, actually I can log in and show you. So if you actually log in here, I have a lot of courses here, but let's see. Yeah, when you actually log in, it will look like this. Okay, so you have the same thing here. If you say show trinket, you can see the trinkets, and then you can start writing a code here. And when you're done, you can submit it. Okay. So just give it a try. This is a little bit, maybe somebody gets stuck here. Don't worry. Okay. Next class, we'll actually do a project and submit it together. If you bring it to class, one of you can actually submit and we can look at it together. Okay. And then once you submit here, I can see all your submissions and I can give you some feedback or help. Okay. And usually when you are going to submit, I have a different view because I created the course. You will be able to ask me questions. There'll be a box below here and you can put your questions here. Actually, if I click on it, I can even see from somebody. No, I can't see. I can only see who started. Nobody has submitted. Okay. Some people have logged in. But you will see a trinket like this and you can write your work and then you will have a submit button at the bottom. Okay. Little different view for you than me. Okay, so somebody asked this question, how to color background. So this is a good example. Let me just give it to you so that you are not frustrated. I have told you that I've given all the information for you on the course website. So here, if you see here, a few more commands for drawing. I have it on the web page. If you click on this link here, it will tell how to color background. You have to draw a shape. And then before you draw the shape, you have to say begin fill and end fill. Say begin fill and end fill and draw a square. The square will get colored. What will be the color of the square? It will be the color of the turtle. So if you want to make a square with a different color, you just change the color of the turtle before you start drawing. Okay, and next time I will make some colored filled up shapes. Okay. So please go ahead, use the website, use the discussion boards. If you have questions, post it there. I'll try to respond within a day or definitely within a day or two. And you can also respond to each other's questions. So if anyone is stuck with anything, you can do that. Okay, so I let all of you go. It was so much fun working with you. Please make time to practice for at least an hour. If you can do more, that's wonderful. At least an hour between now and next Sunday. Okay, and I'll see you all next week. Next week we'll do a little bit of solve some puzzles and do a little bit of mathematics. And then the last week, the week after that, figure out how to write a. Thank you, Arnav. Yeah, some of you said the class is nice and you had fun. It's wonderful. Okay, and the last class we'll write some games. Okay, so next session is next Sunday, same time. Okay, for those who want to know, I will send out an email after this class with some actions for you to do and also remind you when the next class is. Okay. So have fun, and if you make something nice, go bring it to your friends or family and show them what you're doing. Okay, and I'll talk to you all next week. Bye.